Everything you need to know and more about heating and cooling, electrical, garage doors, and plumbing is right here, right now, on the Absolute Home Service Podcast.
Hello again. We are thrilled you are joining us for another episode of the Absolute Home Service Podcast. I am one half of the hosting team. My name is Vince Hauser. I'm here with James McCarter, my co-host.
Good morning, Vince. How we doing? Looking forward to today's episode. We got a couple of great guys in here with a lot of good information. I'm excited. Let's get into it.
Yeah, we're here with Will and JP, and they are from SkyGuard General Contracting. They do a whole slew of services that we're going to discuss some of them today, and we're going to primarily be discussing roofing, but I'm sure some other topics are going to come into that as well.
Good morning, guys.
Morning. Good morning.
Well, let's get to know the men that's in here that's behind SkyGuard today. We've got JP, we've got Will. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your company, and kind of what you guys offer.
My name is Jeff Prakash, JP. I run the operations for SkyGuard General Contracting. We are both a residential and a commercial a general contractor, primarily focused on the exterior envelope trades. Roofing, siding, gutters, that's our three primary trades, but we also do interior work, for our clients and so on and so forth. I've got with me Will here. Will is one of our young salesmen extraordinaires. I call him a boy genius, with flashes of brilliance and everything that goes along with it. So we'll go ahead.
So I'm a project manager for SkyGuard. I've been with SkyGuard for about 3 years. Going on about 3 years since I was 18. And it's been a wild ride. It's been really incredible because I went from a ship date of December 26, 2018 for U.S. Army, infantry airborne ranger, fractured my wrist, fell in love with a girl, and then started working for SkyGuard full time. And I went from the go for this, go for that, just me, a truck, and helping my team, and working my way up to about 2 years ago. Started sales, and that's been a really incredible learning experience, to where I was just couldn't tell you the difference between OSB and the shingle, really, to now being able to go in a house with utmost confidence and be able to really guide a customer on what I see is best for them and what I would honestly put on my home if I was in their current situation.
Awesome. Yeah, well, definitely appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, not a problem. So we got a couple of questions lined up for you guys, and for all of our listeners, this whole point of this podcast is to educate the homeowners or potential clients, anybody, on what to do, what not to do, what to look for, and kind of what they should expect out of a roofing company. Your roof, it's important, right? Why is that?
So at the end of the day, what really differentiates your home from outside, what makes it shelter? And this goes back like thousands of years. All animals really seek shelter, and that's like way deeper than it needs to be, but that's your roof. Your roof is what makes your shelter. Walls are great too, but at the end of the day, without walls, as long as you got a roof, you can still have something. And that's really what your roof is. It's everything when it comes to your home. It protects you from pretty much all the elements. I mean, you can't have a bed in a house without a roof. You can't have anything in a home without a roof.
You make a really good point. I've always argued with people, I fight to provide a roof over my head. I don't think I've ever said I have walls by my side.
Right. Yeah. Very good statement there. Yeah.
So how long should a roof last?
That's an incredibly good question. So the key term in roofing is the limited lifetime warranty, and that goes around in the industry for really everything, from car parts to computer parts to really anything. That's a really very popular term for warranties, is the limited lifetime, or the lifetime limited, or whatever some companies try to do with it. They might spell limited a different way or whatever, and try to trademark it. But in Louisville, in our climate, we have a freeze, we have hot, we have humid, we have some nasty weather. It gets down and dirty in Louisville because we're in the Ohio River Valley. So generally they say 50-year shingle, I'd expect with a good installation, following all manufacturer specifications or recommendations, they say 25 to 30 on a 50-year shingle. Or on top of the line, like Owens Corning Duration, which has a Nylar nail flange, which is kind of like Kevlar. It really catches the nail, holds it in there. I'd say 30 to 35 years.
So a 50-year shingle ain't a 50-year shingle. That's what you're telling me.
That's correct, yeah.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
And that's why warranty is important. That's why you always want to get your warranty paperwork from your contractor after your roof is complete. If you don't have a warranty.
And one of the things that the main manufacturers like Owens Corning, GAF, and so on, they have a roofing system. So you have multiple elements. You have 4 or 5 elements of the roofing system: your shingles, your underlayment, and other things. And we explain that to the customer when we meet them. And the interesting thing that some companies don't tell them is that if that roofing system does not have those 5 elements, that is part of, let's say, Owens Corning. You use Owens Corning, but you come and put another product in, the warranty is not valid. And that's one of the things we sell. We sell you a whole roofing system, and those 5 elements have to be there. And when other companies come in, you're 2 guys in a truck. They don't, they're trying to get the cheapest product out there, and they put the roof on. And they say, oh yeah, you have a warranty. They give you a document, but then let's say something happens. There's a defect in the product, and you go to collect the warranty. They can, chances are the company might not validate that warranty, even though the product might be defective, because the roofing system was not installed. So that's a very good, important question to ask when you're talking to a roofing company that's coming in. Is this a roofing system? Does your warranty cover my roof and what you have installed on it?
So when I take that 50-year shingle and put it on top of 2 layers of shingles that somebody else did, you're telling me my warranty probably ain't going to happen.
That's correct, yes.
Your roof might not happen very long.
Now, why is that? I mean, I've seen it, numerous times. For example, my house right now, we've got, I can see 2 or 3 layers of shingle on there. Is that not?
So at your eaves, you have your starter, and then you have your shingle. So no matter what, it looks like you have 2 layers.
Okay.
But if you have 2 layers at the eave and on the rakes, that means you actually have 1 layer of shingles. If you have 2, you're going to see 4. If you have 3, you're going to see 6. And when it gets, even with 2, it looks kind of goofy. It looks really funny, because you can kind of see it looks like you just caked on shingles. Like you're just spreading this icing across your roof, is a metaphorical way of looking at it. And you got to think about the nails. How many nails can your roof take? Like, if you have 3 layers of shingles, every shingle is dimensionally very similar. So all your nail lines generally match up. So if you're laying your shingles properly, your nail lines are going to match up, so nails are going to be right on top of each other. And if you're doing a layover, I've never done one, but I can only imagine that you're probably going to be nailing nails right on top of each other every now and then. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing.
Well, not only that, but I would assume that probably the length of the nail would play into a little bit of a factor too, because the thicker that
very true.
get, less is going to be able to bite inside of that wood.
Yeah, so on your 2-inch roofing nails, you're supposed to have, I believe, 1 inch exposure going through the decking. And I could be wrong on that one. I don't know necessarily the exact length of the exposure through the decking. But that's a very good point. Once you get up to 3 layers, there's not much nail.
Now, how many layers should there be?
1.
1. Now, is there
Any reason that you would ever go over that, or
No.
what would be some of the negatives of having more than 1, or why can't you have more than 1?
So loading, you don't want that much weight on your roof, like you brought up earlier. That's an extremely good point. Is that you do not want more weight than your roof is mandated to handle. You're supposed to be able to hold your shingles and then 3 foot of snow. I don't know the exact calculation for the amount of weight that is, but I know 3 foot of snow and shingles, and that's pretty much it, or standing seam or what have you. And once you get into 3 layers and people are walking on the roof and you're trying to tear that stuff off, it gets really sketchy. Especially when you have 3 layers of shingle, you generally have like a cheaper substrate, a cheaper decking, which is probably like a 3/8 of an inch compared to a 7/16 inch of an inch, so like 1/4 inch compared to 1/2 inch. And even that stuff with 1 layer, you can feel it bow and buckle as you walk, and that stuff's not really fun. You want to find the rafters. So when you have 3 layers, it almost feels safer. It's kind of funny because you're walking and you have so much shingle that it provides this structural rigidity from the nails being displaced throughout the structure that you feel safer, but in reality it's much more dangerous because the rafters are not designed to handle that much weight. And then going back to the nails, you have so many nails that create new penetrations. The goal of a roof is to have as little penetrations as humanly possible. And
So how often, I'm just sitting here thinking about, if a house, if they did it properly and you re-roofed it every time and there's been 4 or 5 different roofs put on there, when would you have to replace all the sheeting on the roof?
every about 4 roofs. You want to go through the decking of about 4 roofs, and it won't last. Like, by the 4th roof, it's coming off when you're tearing the shingles.
Yeah,
off
but
pretty
but
much.
also to add, I mean, you're still looking at a 30 to 40 year, 40 year, timeline, right? And you don't know what was put in before,
Right.
so that's also another reason why you pull it off all the way to the decking, because you don't know what's going on under that roof.
Right.
And one of the things that it's a lot easier just to put shingles on and put what do you call it? Put the a new shingle layer on top of the existing roof, right? Because what are you doing in terms of your cost? Well,
Right.
you're not going back at the deck, so you're not worried about. And in our contract we add 2 deck boards as part of the price, just in case there's something that goes wrong. And then there's additional cost there. We have underlayment that we do. We have ice and water in the rakes, in the valleys, and so on. That we recommend depending on what's going on in the house. So when a guy comes in, and we have 2 guys in a truck, let's say, say, oh yeah, we can just add another layer of shingles. Yeah, there's some issues we see there. Add another layer of shingles, and when you think about it, like that's a lot easier to do that, right? A lot less cost.
I imagine.
A lot less cost, but guess what they're charging? They're charging for the full system, if you will, right? So that's really what's going on, and one of the other costs that people don't think about is the when you remove the shingles, the asphalt that's out there right now, and you have to get rid of it. There's a disposal fee,
Right.
and that could be $500, $600, $700, and that takes time and effort, right? That's a lot of material you're taking off, you're trying to get rid of, and a job that has a $5,000 job or $10,000 job, that's 5 to 10% of the cost.
Right.
So the 2 guys in the truck is like, hey, I'm not going to do that, So that's another thing to think about.
And it's very heavy material. Once you get a whole roof in a truck, it's a very heavy material, and it takes a lot of time to get it out of the truck, get it in the truck.
I had a roof replaced one time. It's been several years ago, and I don't know that I necessarily hired what I would consider a professional company to do it. And I think I picked nails out of my bushes for like the next 5 years because there was no attempt to capture any of those as they came off the roof.
Right.
Just left you some Easter eggs.
So explain to me that process. What do you all do? So when you're all up on that roof, you're going to dump a bunch of stuff in my bushes?
It comes down to vigilance. Our guys have to be very, very. They've been doing it for years. They've done thousands of roofs. I can only imagine how many roofs they do. It's every day. That's not freezing and it's not raining. They're roofing. Even weekends generally, because freeze and rain, that's their weekends.
So you all go out and like cover all that stuff up. How do you prevent that from happening?
So we have some techniques, some mesh covers for bushes. Sometimes we use if customer really is pushing for that, and if it's a really steep pitched roof, because generally
Right.
if it's a slighter pitch, they'll slide right into the gutters, and we just scoop them out of the gutters when we're done. Or if there's a gutter guard, they'll slide, and probably the gutter guard generally catches them. But
Right.
after every single project, and during the project, they have like this intermittent pause where everybody will get down. They'll probably leave a few guys up there, but half the crew will get down, and they'll go through the entire project and clean again. So it's just.
So you actually have a process of what to do.
Absolutely. That's one of the things we pride ourselves on. We have a whole process. Initially, when you bring a new crew on board, we go through that. We do a job walk, during for the first couple of projects. We have one crew that we work with. There's 5 to 6 guys, and they are very good at what they do. They're younger guys, so they can get on a roof. They can do a 20 to 30 square job in a day. And
Very good.
And absolutely, to take off on what Will said, we make sure we cover the bushes, and then we have one of those metal detector wands that we walk all the way around, especially on the driveway, because that's where
Right.
the vehicles are in the where the grass is, the yard and so on. And that's one of the biggest issues, and you're absolutely true. We've had that happen, and again, just to be completely transparent, we've had to pay for somebody's car tire to be fixed, and we do that. That happens. That's the nature of the game. But then that's when we go back and we go through a whole training process again with the guys and say, hey guys, this happened. you know, and if you guys don't fix this, then, you know, it comes out of your, your
Right.
paycheck, right? I mean, somebody has to be responsible for it. But yeah, we make sure, you know, after the project's complete, that everything is left as we were, you know, when we got to the project, you know. Of course, brand new roof on the
Right.
house. So.
And it's like about 2 hours of walking around with a magnet every single project for those guys. And they have these big, say about 3 foot by about 6 inch wide magnets that have these big wheels on each side. You just roll them around. They have about 4 of them. And so about, like we said, about half the crew will get down and just roll those things around, pick up stuff. We got big, like double ply contractors bags that they'll have, and they'll just be rolling and picking up shingles up. And just
We actually find, by the way, side note, we actually find things that the homeowner lost in their yard. So that works out to be good. You know, they appreciate that. So.
Yeah, I know. I mean, in my case, that was one of the things I never even thought about. You know, when in the roofing process of, you know, I expected to have a new roof, but I didn't expect to have a yard full of nails.
Right.
I'm like, did you all pick up any nails, or did you?
Jeez, really?
I really kind of thought they took other people's nails and threw them away.
They just made them easier for you to pick up.
Right, exactly.
You didn't have to get them off.
Sprinkling
Right.
nails
Maybe,
down.
maybe they didn't like me. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine how that would be.
I've actually got a really good question for you guys. So, and I literally just experienced this about 4 to 5 months ago. You know, I was selling my house. I have a detached garage, right? And the way that my house is positioned, I'm kind of up on a hill, and it takes a lot of direct wind on one specific side of the garage. And upon the inspection, they found a couple of the shingles were actually flipped up and over, and they weren't laid down. How do you fix that? Can you either A, flip them back down and nail them in? Do you have to replace just that shingle? Can you replace half of the roof? Do you have to replace all of it? What are our homeowners' options at that specific point in time?
Everything for that question is circumstantial. It depends on the age of the shingle, because over time the fiberglass chassis really deteriorates to the point of, I guess you could compare it to dry rotting, to the point that it's extremely brittle. And if, say, a shingle, they're very flexible when they're not cold. So take a shingle that's been sitting in a 70-degree room or in 70-degree environment for 12 hours, 24 hours. So it's very flexible. You take an old shingle, comparable, sitting in the same environment for 24 hours, what have you, and you try to bend it, ply it, you'll hear a crack, and it could snap.
It's very brittle.
And once you run out of adhesion at the bottom of the shingle tab, right below the nailing line, it will flap up, just like you said, and you'll see a crease. And this is a pretty much identifying factor for insurance claims for wind damage. And when it's like that, generally you can patch it if it's a newer roof, but that's a defective shingle. So if you got a defective shingle, you'd have to go through pretty much the whole roof, and on the dwelling, of course, as well, because if it's the same installation, that could mean they had a bad run at the plant, and that could be a warranty claim. So you could get a whole new roof from that, or that could just be, for some reason, one bad shingle. Like something could have happened, that adhesion line just ran dry after a year or two, so for some reason. That these things happen when you're mass producing tons of shingles.
So what I'm hearing a lot of is, I mean, of course you said it's circumstantial, but it solely depends on, you know, really the age. Nothing lasts forever. So if it's not a defective product, you know, and to be quite honest, that roof was about 15, 16 years old.
There you go.
So I'm going to chalk it up to the fact that it was due to age, but, you know, so let's say that, you know, I really just don't want to pay for it. Can I just get one
Absolutely.
shingle tab and put in there, or what?
I don't think you could. On a 15 to 16-year-old roof, I would not say that's a good idea, just because trying to tear up and then patch in around that is very difficult without ripping up all the shingles around it. You have to be very careful. It's definitely doable, but you have to be very careful in the process.
Let me add to that, because we also have a repair crew. To answer your question, it depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, it all comes down to cost, right? Do you want to replace your whole roof, or do you want to replace just a part of it, or you just want to take care of the issue that you're having right now? It's kind of like, I guess when you go in, you know, they're saying, hey, something's wrong with my faucet pump. Do I want to replace the whole system? There's, you know, and so on and so forth. But we offer those options to customers. We understand that, hey, a customer can't afford, if it's not a warranty claim, a customer cannot afford that. But yes, we can replace just that section to take care of it. Now, as Will mentioned, if there's more damage, if there's decking issues and things like that that was caused by the shingle, happening, then yes, we would say, okay, we're not going to do this. We recommend that you absolutely have to replace your whole roof. But we're not going there telling every customer, hey, you have to replace your whole roof.
Right.
Because we want to make sure that they're, I would want to do it like it's my house, right? I don't want somebody to come and tell me, hey, every time I need to replace my roof just with a couple of shingles that are, blown off. And it can happen too, that's the nature of the game, we don't know. So, like Will said, it based on every situation. And, so it's a hard question to answer, but we look at all the factors.
We basically have options. Though.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Right, and so we can do that. We can replace just a section of the roof, but the one negative with that is depending on if it's 15 to 16 years old, that shingle might not be available. So whatever area that you're replacing with shingles, well, it's very possible that it's not going to match. And even if you find the same shingle that you got from previously, the 15-year-old shingle has weathering, right? So it's definitely going to be a difference between the new shingle and the old shingle, even if it's the same type, the same color, and so on and so forth.
Well, and one thing too that I'm assuming would be a real big factor in it is warranty. I'm probably not going to have a warranty replacing one versus replacing my whole system or whatever the case may be. But a lot of that really comes into, and I run into this a lot. Granted, we always want to take care of the next person, but you might have your own things going on. For example, I was selling this house,
right,
and I had already purchased a new house.
Right.
I didn't want to sink a whole lot into it.
Right.
I wanted to fix it. I wanted to basically make it safe. Fortunately, we were able to get it taken care of. It pretty reasonable what I thought, and we kind of split it with the new homeowner.
Right,
so,
exactly.
I mean, and those are always options as well. Everybody thinks that you're always going to have to pay for that whole system because it's your house. But if somebody offered me on a new property I was buying to split something, absolutely.
Right.
So I mean, those are great options. So.
And then really quick to add to that too, you have home inspectors that, and we've talked about this, right before the podcast. They go in and they say, hey, you have to do everything. Right, and we have a house right now where we had a realtor send us the house, the information. The roof had very little issues, but I'm looking at this home inspection report, and the floor is sagging, and it's a 3-story house in Old Louisville. I said, listen, don't worry about the roof. We can come and flash around the chimneys and stuff, and that takes care of the problem. But you have a sagging floor. She was the buyer's agent, and I said, you might want to worry about that more. And I guess they turned on the laundry, and this might be something for you guys to look at, but they turned on the laundry in the second floor, and it's leaked every time they turned the laundry thing on, it leaked. And, and there's so much more issues happening. Actually the pillar was, it was not, solid, in like the second or third floor. So, again, goes back to your question.
I'll interject on that. I really like the fact that you mentioned that, because one of the things that Vince and myself and everyone else in this company takes pride in is that we're not just out there to grab a dollar, not out there just to grab a check. It would have been so easy for you to just go ahead and do that job and do the flashing or do the roofing repair, do whatever it be, collect and then leave, but you were more concerned about other potential issues that they had, which, I just wanted to shine some light on that, which is why we want to bring people like yourselves in here and would be more than happy referring you, because that is integrity, and that's one of our biggest core values that we have here, and that's much appreciated. I just wanted to
kind of touch on that. So I'm in a BNI chapter, Business Networking International chapter, the Brownsboro chapter. I pretty much, if you guys are familiar, we've been doing it on Zoom, and every week you have about a minute commercial that you say to everybody in the Zoom call. Pretty much what you're asking for, what leads can help you, how your week's been, any new development. And I pretty much open mine every week with that we are problem solvers. A lot of projects we go to, since we are a restoration company, pretty much, more or less.
Exterior envelope restoration company. I don't want to get into it. We're not Belfor or, or Surf Pro. Just confirm that.
So when I go to these homes, and it might be appointment for siding, it might be appointment for roofing, I do a roof inspection. If I go for roofing, I'll inspect the siding. If I go for windows, I'll inspect the roof and the siding. It might just be a ground inspection if I see that the roof's obviously very new. Or if I see some flaws from the ground, I might get up there and see what's going on. And it's just integrity. You just want to find and help them in any way you can, because setting up the process, making the meeting, and when it could have been fixed a long time ago by somebody who was there for a different reason but knew. And when you point all these things out to them, it's like, I'm not trying to run up a check. I'm not trying to build that bill for them. I'm trying to prevent a big bill down the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's much better to get slapped on the wrist than it is to get slapped on the face. We can try to prevent those problems before they really come to fruition. The customer really appreciates that, and it
Absolutely.
is reflected by
I
that.
completely agree. You want to know the difference between a contact and a contract? The letter R, and it stands for relationship. And
That's
exactly
good.
what
That's
you,
a
that's
good
exactly what you want to build. Now, I want to get a quick shout out.
We're gonna,
derail quick second.
I'm going to steal that if you don't mind. So
Absolutely.
I'll give you guys credit for that.
So I want to give a quick shout out to my high school football coach. Just piggybacking on what you said, J.P. Dale, shout out, Carrollton, Kentucky. Listen, he said, and I heard it thousands of times until it finally clicked. I'm like, oh my gosh, he was so right. If you do it right, you will do it light. If you do it wrong, you will do it long. Right? And that's
Wisdom.
our
That's
core
like
values,
wisdom
right?
right there.
Right.
That is wisdom. That is my
really is.
that's my Friday morning wisdom. Anyway, getting back on it. So you guys have talked about replacing roofs or doing the decking system or anything like that. Will, you just mentioned doing your ground inspection stuff like that. As a homeowner, when can I because obviously, the time that you're going to get called is either A, I'm buying or selling the house, or B, I've started noticing a leak. Is there anything that I can do, or homeowners in general can do to look up and go, I need to call you guys. I need a new roof. How would you know when it's time to replace that roof?
With roofs, it's hard to tell if you're not a roofer before it's too late, before you get a leak. Obviously, if you have a leak, you got staining in your drywall, you have cracking in your drywall, you got bowing, flexing in the drywall, and your ceilings and your walls. Those are very telltale signs that there is an active leak, and you need to get a roofer out there as soon as possible.
So how often should I have that inspected? Can I call you up? Will, I need my roof inspected. What's going to happen?
Yeah, we're more than happy to come out and provide inspections, and I love providing inspections. One of my favorite things about my job is crawling around on roofs, as weird as that sounds. It's
That
just
sounds
fun.
weird to me.
Yeah,
That sounds very weird to me.
I have these special boots, and it makes it a lot of fun.
We provide free inspections, and very valid question, Vince. I mean, the roof is the most important thing for your house, right? Because that's
Right.
like Will had started off by saying that's the structure that prevents pretty much everything coming into your house. But that's the last thing you look at. You look at siding, you look at your front, you look at your gutters. Those things you can visibly see. But gutters is a good example. If your gutters start sagging, you're like, okay, the gutters were put on when the roof was put on. We recommend, hey, when you put a new roof on, chance to put a new gutter on. You have gutter guard. So when you start seeing issues with your gutters, you see a lot of leaves on your, leaves in your gutters. You clean your gutters, but you start seeing your gutters sag. Well, usually your gutter is attached to the side of your house, but the top of the gutter is almost like part of the roofing system, right? So that's one good sign to say, hey, maybe I need to have my roof checked out. Usually what happens is, I think the average homeowner, and it seems to be going down, people used to live 15, 20 years in homes. Now it's 4 to 5 years, 6 years, people are moving. There's a lot more transient things happening. So we're fortunate that since that's happening, then that's the first thing people look at. It's interesting. When you sell a house, hey, what's the status of my roof? When you live in the house, nobody seems to care, right?
Right.
When you sell the house, that's a very valid question that comes. Of course, there's home inspections that go on. If you have attics, you can go into the attic, you can see the rafters, you can see if there's any leaks in the rafters. Of course, that's when you need to get your roofs checked, as Will had suggested too. So there are some signs, but unfortunately what we have seen is, in our years of business, that people don't look at the roof till it's time to sell or if there's a leak.
And to go back to the root of the question, just a few things I wanted to add. You don't have to be a roofer to be able to tell. Just go outside and look at your roof. Roofs are pretty. But you got to go out and look at your roof. If you're missing shingles, if shingles are flapped up, that's a really telltale sign. Because if you're missing a shingle, the whole point of an asphalt shingle roof is it's a layered system. So you nail your shingle, you put a new layer over it, and that hides that fastener. So if you have exposed fasteners, what we call shiners, because if they're rusted, they don't shine. But if they're new, they're shining in that light. They're reflecting it, so you can really see them. And those are direct penetrations, albeit very small, but every single drop of water that channels over that, a portion of that has a very large chance to penetrate down into your decking potentially through your decking, and down into your attic space, run your rafters, come down and start a leak at a location that's completely different from the origin of the water drip. That's what's really weird about roofing, is a leak could be in a completely separate portion of the house from where the leak originates. And penetrations are a very large factor for that.
So, I mean, a few years ago, we had a hailstorm come through, and I was one of the benefactors of that hailstorm. But anyway, I mean, of course, we went ahead and got a new roof because everybody in my neighborhood got a new roof, and I thought I need one. But I'll be honest with you, when I looked up at my roof, I'm like, I don't even see anything wrong with my roof. So, I mean, when you put your fancy boots on and you go up there walking around, how do you know? I mean, what tells you that we need a new roof? Because hail hit it. Because like I said, when I looked, it didn't look to me like there's anything wrong. My roof was about 6-7 years old, and it looked fine.
So, with hail, a direct, large, quarter-size hail strike can generally sometimes even create a direct penetration if it's an old and brittle shingle. Most of the time, it will impact, and you'll see a very dark spot on the shingle, especially if it's a very light shingle. You can see the contrast, and it'll knock those asphalt copper granule mixture off of the shingle itself. So you'll just have the exposed asphalt, and then that's just the exposed asphalt and the fiberglass chassis. That asphalt granule mixture really keeps algae from forming and keeps your roof protected, and over time, it deflects, it refracts the solar radiation. So those hail strikes will cause the shingle to age at a much, much, much more rapid pace. And the shingle will become more brittle much faster, and eventually it can result in direct penetrations. It's very important to get hail strikes checked out, and it's a very easy way to get an insurance claim is hail strikes, looking for hail strikes, looking for wind damage, because that's, at the end of the day, act of God.
You know that I am 32 years old.
Did not know that.
And I just found out.
Okay, that wasn't the question.
No, it gets better. I just found out that the phrase "cold as hell" is HAIL.
Really? Oh, really?
Yes. Look, see, that's the same thing that I did. I was like, no way, but it makes sense, right? Because
Yeah.
hell's not cold.
Yeah, hell is not supposed to be cold. It's
Right?
really hot.
Yeah, it's HAIL.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I'm full of useless knowledge today.
Well, that's useful.
You are somewhat amazing.
we will use that with our customers too. Just to take off one very quickly. One of the things we do though is when a customer says, "Hey, did I suffer from hail damage?" We have several different programs we've used, but the one we use the most is a program called Hail Trace. It shows hail paths within the last number of years, and there's different insurance companies are different, but they normally, if it's a hail damage, they look at the same reports that we do.
Right.
So, and you have to have a certain percentage of the roof that was hit by hail, and when the adjuster comes in, when the adjuster comes and looks at it, he's going to make that determination. But absolutely, I mean, we look at that, and a lot of times we've had homeowners that say, hey, you know what, maybe I need to get the roof replaced. And we go there and we say, yeah, it's kind of an older roof. It's been around, you've had it for a certain period of time. And then we look at the hail trace map. So that's a service we automatically provide. It's the first thing we actually do. Was it in a hail pattern? And we try to, the homeowner is spending a lot of money on insurance.
Right.
So we try to we're on the homeowner's side, and we try to make it very clear. I don't know if you're going to have, insurance here in the future, so I don't want to upset any insurance folk, but we, one of the things that Will had started talking about also is that we educate, we inform, and we empower the customer. Brad, who's the owner of SkyGuard, when he sold roofs, and it's ironic you brought up the hailstorm. That's how actually he was in Bardstown. I think it was 5 years ago. We had a huge hailstorm come through Bardstown. He was out there knocking on doors, and he did 150 roofs in 1 year, or 125 roofs in 1 year. So that's been his focus. Is we educate, we empower, and we inform the customer. We're not there to be a salesperson. We are there, we are on their side. And like you started off by saying, we're not here, hey, yes, we're a company. We're not a non-profit company. We're a for-profit company. We need to make money. We've got people that we provide for, but at the same time, we want to be on the customer side, and that's one of the main things when you go into a customer. How can we help them?
So when that does happen, whether it's hail or any other warranty claim, do you all basically take over that process for them? So I don't have,
if it's happened to my house, I don't have to deal with my
Absolutely.
insurance, you take over
It's
and
pretty much, we
Yes.
ensure their
you become
indemnification.
chief negotiator.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then we have, like I said, our other sales person, James. He's very well qualified on that. Usually depends on who's on the job, and if it's an insurance job, Brad gets involved. We have another partner that gets involved, and they've been doing insurance claims for a long time. So we have a whole process that kicks in when it has to deal with insurance companies. You're probably familiar with that. Insurance companies use a program called Exactimate, which is a software program that they use that tells them what the rates are for this area and all the different things that they have to pay for.
Industry standard pricing.
And they will come in and they will try to avoid certain things. Like, for example, this is just a little background on our industry. If you have 2 stories, they have to pay for let's say disposal fees and so on and so forth. And so that's a whole other game that you play with the insurance company. Of course, the homeowner is not aware of that, but the insurance companies don't want to pay. And one of the things too that you have to understand, they will only replace what was on the roof. So if it's a 15, 16-year-old roof, they'll say, okay, we'll replace a 3-tab roof. Well, 3 tabs available, but architectural dimensional shingles is much better.
Right.
You want to go with that, you have better
Not
warranty.
not much more expensive.
Yeah,
We
and
usually upgrade them for free with the insurance money.
So we have to go through that process and make sure that we can educate the customer, inform the customer, and tell them, hey, yes. Now the flip side of it is you have companies that come in and say, yeah, but you can go to the highest end roof, which is not necessarily needed. But of course, the company might say yes. They're trying to make more money, obviously. But we try to, even in that case, try to be on the side of the customer, and try to make sure that hey, you can be indemnified properly. One of the other things I did want to mention very quickly, which happens a lot in this area in our industry, is which is completely illegal, is saying, hey, yes, we'll pay for your roof when it's an insurance claim, meaning the deductible, right? Because there is a deductible. That is illegal. And the roofing companies, the 2 guys in the truck especially, they'll try to figure out ways to get around that. And we see that all the time, especially when there's a big storm. And, we're very clear about that. We're not going to do anything illegal. I mean, of course, 2 guys in a truck can, kind of get away with it. But no, it's your deductible. And one question that we bring up, and we've had this happen in our sales meetings, right? When you have a vehicle and something happens to your vehicle, right? You had an accident. Do you talk to your repair company and say, hey, can you figure out a way that you can take care of my deductible? No. You're paying your deductible, right?
Right.
No questions asked.
Right.
What about a roof? You have damage on there. That's why you're paying insurance. Why is that an issue? That absolutely makes no sense. And your roof is protecting your whole house.
Right.
24/7, 365 days of the year, right? So that's one way we're able to kind of combat that. But of course, not every customer listens to that. They're going to go with the cheapest price. And one thing, we are not the cheapest people out there. We provide quality. That's what we focus on. And so we might not be the roofing company for everybody, but we want to stand by, what we do. We want to be here for years to come. And one of the things that, we want to do is that, hey, 2 years from now, there's an issue with the roof. You can call us. Guess what? We're still around.
Right.
We've not changed name 4 times because of not having insurance or workman's comp, or put a shoddy roof and say, you know what? You have 5 shoddy roofs. I'm going to go set up a new company, and get a new name and just keep going, right? So that's one important thing that we pride ourselves on.
You brought up a really good point with that too. So that being said, as far as not being for everyone, wanting to stand behind your work and your quality and everything that you do, I'm going to assume that you guys offer some type of warranty or guarantee.
Absolutely.
What does that look like, and what can that cover? And I know that a lot of it's going to get towards insurance. I also, just as far as your craftsmanship, your quality, the product that you offer and install, what kind of warranty or guarantee could a homeowner expect out of something like that?
Absolutely. Very good question. We have a product warranty, right, from Owens Corning, a GAF, which is your prorated warranty, your limited lifetime warranty that Will had mentioned. We have a five-year workmanship warranty on our replacements.
Transferable.
And it's transferable. So that means that
any amount?
Any amount.
Just up to 5 years?
Up to 5 years. That's on the workmanship.
Once you transfer, you don't lose any progress on that. It doesn't become a different warranty once you transfer it. Is it the 5 same years starting from that installation date to the end of that 5 years, regardless?
Do I have to call and transfer it, or you just track it by address and we know
it's by address? It's by address.
Yeah.
It's not by the name of the customer. It's by address.
I prefer that they let me know if they're one of my clients that I manage the project, just because if somebody random calls me, I might not. I'll be like, wait.
We ask for that in all of our services, but I can tell you, no one ever does it.
Right.
But we track it by address too.
Yeah.
And nobody probably has paperwork either, right? They've lost the paperwork, right?
Well, we don't even do paperwork. We're all
Oh, okay.
digital now.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So,
We actually have a very nice, Owens Corning GAF. They actually have a very nice package that we send out to all of our customers. And major roofing companies do that. We were talking a typical roof is, our average roof is about $10,000, right? So we try to give them, and the roofing companies, do that. But you have to imagine too, the roofing companies are here to make money.
right.
So they want, even though they say 30 to 50 years, they're trying to sell a roof every 10 to 12 years, right? Or
Right.
7 years or 10 years. So, and they make more money on replacements rather than new roofs.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of a new roof is about 30 to 40% cheaper than a cost of a replacement. So,
until I got into the total multi-trade, I really didn't have a complete understanding. But I can tell you with almost certainty now that everything on that house is designed for about 10 to 15 years.
Absolutely.
There is nothing on the house.
Planned obsolescence.
Yeah,
That's
it
just
is
reality these
unbelievable
days.
to me how much more and more and more that comes into play.
And I'm going to throw a wrench in the gear. I've got a question, as you just mentioned this. It's cheaper to put on a new roof. Should I go out there and just tear off all of my shingles and everything, let you guys come in and just put a new roof on for me?
I would never recommend a customer to get up on the road roof.
Is it just
You don't have fancy
dangerous, or-
boots.
Yeah, I don't have fancy boots.
I mean, you can
I've
go
got
out
nice
and buy,
weatherproof shoes, but I don't have fancy boots.
go out and buy yourself some fancy boots. No, but
Where do they sell those at?
Well, just a dumpster alone is about $400.
Travis Roofing Supply.
Right? Just to get a dumpster and put it in your yard for asphalt shingles, because it is a product that needs to be disposed of a certain way. So that's $400 for a dumpster.
Magnets.
And yeah, and you're pulling off shingles, you're pulling off underlayment, you're pulling all that stuff off. So
And I'm not spending 2 hours picking up nails out of my yard.
exactly,
I can
and
tell you that right now.
That's
right,
gonna kill you.
and it's,
You will after your wife steps on one.
I'll blame it on the roofers.
The roofers that aren't there yet.
The roofers
tore
that
off.
So to answer your question, you let the professionals do it. That's just
Is there anything about a roof, anything at all, that could possibly be a DIY project? And by that I mean, and I do this every year. I do a roof wash, right? I get up there and I spray it down. You mentioned earlier about algae. I was educated on different things happening, and I was like, wow, if I can make my roof last just that much longer by going up there and giving it a good wash.
That's a lot longer.
So elaborate on that, just because I don't know all the full details. But what type of chemicals should we use? Is it pressure washer? Is it just hose? How should I be cleaning my roof or roof washing properly?
Every manufacturer, that's a really good question. Every manufacturer has different recommendations. If you look up Owens Corning roof cleaning recommendations, they'll give you a mixture of, say, Clorox or different detergents with an amount of water. And then you just kind of get up there and just...
well, hopefully you can do it from the ground, depending on how tall your roof is. And that's a really good question too. You could go to any box store and find roof cleaning material, but like Will suggested, definitely look up what the recommended cleaning material that you're supposed to use on the roof, because that could, depending if you do it too often, you are hitting those. It's not like rain, obviously, but it could degrade the shingles.
Direct water pressure. It's like similar to washing a bike. You don't want to get water directly in your bearings, or else it'll rust.
Right, and what's the speed of that water that's hitting that roof shingle, right? It's not like
Exactly.
rain. And the other thing to think about also is that the newer product, if you have a new roof, they do have algae prevention or algae
Copper. It's copper in the asphalt granules.
in the granules. So they are coming up with product. I mean, technology is just increasing by leaps and bounds as far as roofing goes, and so that's how they're competing. So the Owens Corning, GAF, ICO, TAMCO, and just a quick question, just a quick note with that. I mean, we install all of the major roofing, the roofing products out there. We are Owens Corning certified. We are GAF certified, which is very important also to ask a roofing company when they come in. Are you certified with the
I did not even know there was a certification.
Yep.
Yeah, the Owens Corning has levels to it too. I believe we're platinum or something like that, which is like top of the line. They have like silver, gold, and then platinum, I believe. And another thing about the whole algae buildup concept is that if you have trees hanging over your dwelling, the branches and debris, leaves and
Leaves,
whatnot can sit. You do not want them sitting. If you have a very, like, maybe 3/12, so every 12 inches of elevation, use 3 inches of elevation, which is a very slight pitch, very easily walkable, nearly close to flat. And it's not a very tall, like say it's a 1 story, maybe 1.5 story in the back. That's accessible. You can get up there, clean off those branches, and always make sure there's never sitting branches on your roof. That can, in reality, half the lifetime of your roof, because once algae builds up, algae is very acidic, and that water that channels through the algae becomes very acidic, and that's terrible. It degrades and destroys the chassis of the shingle. And like Jeff has touched on, it's that copper granulate mixture helps break down the acidity and helps channel it down towards the gutters and just away from the roof. But that only lasts so long. If you just have a stick sitting on your roof for about, say, I've seen them, they've just sat there until the stick's just no more.
It
Like
disintegrates,
it's broken
basically.
down.
Right.
That can pretty much half the life of your roof.
And that's a newer technology too. I think it's been around for about a decade. So anything
Okay.
older than that, you know.
And
sorry,
with
just-
new roofs, you have a true protection period generally with the top of the line roofing systems like Owens Corning Oak Ridge or Owens Corning Duration. You have a 10-year true protection period before your proration starts. So it's pretty much a 60-year warranty in reality. So you have 10 years, then 50 years of proration. So they have a very, very, very good warranty.
So let's talk metal roofs. I mean, I don't live in the city. I live out a little bit.
Yeah, those are
And
very common
I mean,
now,
in my neck of the woods, I mean, almost every new roof I see going on now is metal. Now, when you come inside the city, it seems like nobody knows what metal is hardly. From my perspective, anyway.
So to touch on metal, I always recommend hidden fastener.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of exposed fasteners. Those grommets dry rot over time, and then
That's called a scanning seam. You know, scanning seam roofs. So,
yeah. So what you'll find in the face fastened material is it's a W-pan, that aluminum W-pan material. I don't really recommend those. I try to stay towards the realm of standing seam hidden fasteners, and they have an incredible look, 24, 26 gauge, or even copper. But copper you get into just astronomical.
So why would someone want a metal roof versus a shingle roof? What's the advantages, disadvantages?
50 plus years, easily, with a good installation, good coating.
What happens when the hailstorm comes? That was odd because my wife, she was interested in a metal roof, and
With a
that
24
scares me to
gauge,
death.
with a 24 gauge, that stuff's pretty heavy duty. It's gonna take a real big hail hit, like some Argentina-sized hail, to really put a dent in that
And you
stuff.
can replace panels. You don't have to replace the entire roof either. So that's another advantage there. Like Will said, yeah, definitely the advantage is the age. You know, and you can see it. It's beautiful. I mean, a lot of the new farmhouses, we're actually in the process of. We're building out in the country, or we're starting to build out in the country, and we're going to go with the metal roof.
Easily.
Yeah, I am not liking it because my price is 3 times more than my shingle roof.
That was going to be my next question.
It's 3 times more.
So-
Both in material and labor. The labor, the labor pool for metal roofs is probably 1/10 of what the labor pool is for shingle.
Maybe less.
Yeah. So, and that's us. I mean, if you go with a custom, we have a company we work with that just does metal roofs. They've been around for 125 years, and they're probably 4 or 5 times, but they do very high-end roofs. So yeah, they cost probably 5 to 6 times what a typical shingle roof is. Typical shingle roof, just going right into price, you're looking at about, it's all by square, right? It's 10 by 10 a square. Typical, and roofing prices right now, especially asphalt shingles, they've gone up 3 times in the last year because of, they say it's COVID, but, the prices are going up, and we just got a new...
all building materials.
All building materials, and it's so interesting that February 1st is when the next price hike is going up, and we got letters from every one of the 6 major manufacturers.
What a coincidence.
Exactly, and guess what? It looked like the same person wrote all of these 6 letters. I mean, mine is, I'm like, man, if I SEO this, and we talked about SEO briefly, right, and your content has to be different, right? You can't just go plagiarize somebody's content. I said, this wouldn't pass your SEO smell test, But it's so interesting that it's like collusion maybe, but anyway. So, but that's it's everything has gone up, and metal obviously metal is going up too. But
They figured it out. It's a race to the top for them.
Yeah. So you're looking at about, and of course I don't want to, I'm just saying an average roof, just a price, just throwing a ballpark, because that's one of the questions we get asked. Of course, it's like saying how much is my project going to cost? You don't know until you get there.
Right.
But roofing, you can kind of figure it out, and it depends on the complexity of the roof. If there's valleys, if there's eaves, additional eaves rates, and so on. You're looking at about $300 a square. That's an average.
For metal.
No, I'm talking shingle.
Okay.
Metal's around.
He's already trying to get a discount.
No, I haven't bought it. The last roof that I bought, my insurance company bought, so I didn't care what it cost.
If you find it for $300 a square, let me know, and you'll have more business than you can shake a stick at. But a metal roof is probably you're looking at about $1,200 to $1,200 a square.
Okay.
On a metal roof.
Depending on the complexity.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that goes into the installation of a metal roof. There's a lot more math. There's a lot more. You have to get a complete custom kit
Okay.
compared to just getting some shingles.
So, and for the people that would be listening, what's a square? I know what that is. but-
10 by 10,
Okay.
That's 100 square foot area.
100 square foot area, and that's how roofs are measured.
Right.
So basically, when we very good question too to kind of add on to that. How do you measure a roof, right? So we basically do, a roof measurement. We actually use.
I bet you have an app for that.
We do have an app for that. One of the things that we do, and we try to do, and of course, like Will said, it depends on the weather too. We try to get on the roof. Of course, using all caution. We have special boots. They're not cheap.
Fancy boots.
Fancy boots.
One
Yeah,
I wish
fancy
that's
boots.
what they were called. Fancy boots.
We'll call that from now on. We'll probably put a page on our website on that. But
Fancy boots.
fancy boots. But so we try to get on the roof. We measure the roof, and usually what happens is that when you have an exact measure, and then we usually have 10 to 15% waste. There's always a waste factor with roofing material. That's another thing too, that some companies don't add that because that's 10% of your job cost. We're not going to add that, and then they come back and say, hey, we ran short for whatever reason, so you have to pay additional. So we make sure that the cost that the customer sees is everything. We're not going to come in and add a whole bunch of things after the job is started, because some companies do that, and we've seen that happen. We've had companies call us, hey, and that's rare. But these guys were just they told us a $5,000 job, and we were one of the companies that bid on the job. But it's 30% more than what you quoted. I said, well, yeah, because of this, and this. Very rarely, but we've had it happen a couple of times where customers called us after they went with somebody else,
Right.
and we came to finish a job. And usually those jobs we don't like to touch, because we're like, listen, we gave you all the information.
Right.
I'm guessing it's like somebody they call you, they say this is the price. Somebody else came and messed it up, screwed up the job, and then you try to come and fix it. Well, it's going to cost more.
Right.
Charlie.
Yes.
So that's one thing that we try to educate the customer. And we let them know about that. So
We give them the best option out the door. That's our main goal, is just to give you the best option. This is reality through our eyes, and sometimes reality is hard to accept. But that's one of my main focuses on speaking to a customer is this is reality from my professional view of the roof of whatever systems I'm inspecting that day. And this is our cost with our respective markup to get it done properly, and this is your turnkey proposal. You turn that key, we're ready to go. You don't have to worry about anything down the road unless we tear off and we find something catastrophic. We can never see, I can't see through the wall. I wish I could. That'd be amazing.
When you
Can't see
come
through the wall.
out and I say I wanted a new roof and I had you out and said I just need a new shingle roof. I mean, are you going to typically present me with 3 options, 4 options, or are you going
I try to
to
keep it around
it's a
2.
one price deal or?
I try to give you about 2 options.
Okay.
3 to 4, it just becomes a headache. And I guess you could say I actually do give 3 options. Generally, I say here's your Oak Ridge, which is your middle line, pretty much duration without the Nylar nail strip. So it just has a little bit lower wind rating warranty, has more of a chance for a pull through. Which, although it's very slim, I think you go from 120 mile per hour to 140 mile per hour, and both of those are just completely out of the realm of reality in Kentucky. If 140 mile per hour winds come and hit your home's not going to be there anymore.
Right.
your roof might be there, but your walls are going to be 10 or 50 feet further, right?
So-
I mean, that's hurricane mile hour winds.
So when I decide on that better option, do you all offer financing on the spot, or what?
Yep.
What goes on from that point?
Get you approved right then and there, and we have a litany of plans to choose from.
Okay.
Do you service finance?
We do.
Yeah, we use service finance too.
Okay.
And Green Sky is the one that we use, and they have a very good program for roofing. Service finance, and it goes through all the credit, all the different, credit scores. I mean, we can get anybody approved, 520, 580, I think, or 600. I think it's service finance all the way up to, if you have a good credit score. It all comes down to the rates. Green Sky has programs all the way, 10 years, 1.9%, and so on and so forth. So yeah, we have a, gamut of solutions.
You make the process easy. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's really all I was kind of getting at. So if I want to use my credit card, I'll write you a check. You're going to finance me, whatever that is. You're going to take care of it when you're out there, and then I'm going to get my new roof on.
We have
Absolutely.
options for everybody.
So, all right, we're getting pretty close to the end of the time. So if somebody wants to get a hold of SkyGuard and they want to come and see Will in his fancy boots walk across the roof, how would they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
www.skyguardgc.com. That's Sky, SKY, GUARD, We protect you from the elements, SkyGuard. Our phone number is 502-909-4058. You can find us obviously through the web, your mobile device, whatnot, and
All social media.
All social media. We try to be on all social media. Yeah, we would love to take care of you. We offer free estimates, so for replacements. We also have a repair crew, like we talked about. If you have those, like your garage situation there, we can come in and take a look at that. We do, like I said, other exterior trades too. We do siding, we do gutters, gutter guard. So just not roofs. So basically, an exterior envelope, company.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have you back on. We'll be discussing some of these other topics in the future.
Excited to.
So.
JP, I actually have one last question before Vince wraps this up. Regular roof, just your standard roof. I decide that I'm going to go with it today. What's my average turnaround? How long is it going to take for you to get out there and get that taken care of for me?
It depends on the material. Unfortunately, it does not depend on our availability. We are about 2 to 3 weeks out.
Okay.
So let's say Will or James or one of our other salespeople goes out there and signs a contract. We can be out there within 2 weeks to get the job done.
Sometimes a lot less.
Yeah, sometimes quicker. If there's actual damage, when Will goes out there, James goes out there, either they do it or we get our repair crew to go out there. If there's visible damage, if there's leaking, we tarp the roof.
Generally on
Okay, we try to do that right away. I mean, because we don't want to damage the structure of your residence any more than what it needs to be. Obviously,
they can get us to the repair.
Exactly.
Yep.
So
Or replacement.
The replacement,
Yeah.
exactly. So
And
we
it
try to
doesn't
take
stick
care
out
of that
like a
situation.
sore thumb.
And we try to do that. I mean, that's just something we do. We've done that to where even if we didn't get the job, we try to do that. Usually we send an invoice to the customer. There's a job cost associated with that, but they don't pay. We're like, okay, whatever. I mean, that's not something we want to worry about. We want to make sure that again the customer's taken care of. So our potential customer out in that case.
Outstanding. All right, James, you got anything else to add?
That's actually all that I had. I just wanted to thank you guys, JP and Will, for just taking the time and coming in here and really sharing your experience and knowledge with us, and I greatly appreciate it.
I actually learned a lot today.
Me too.
And I did not know there was fancy roofing boots. I'm going to look them up.
I got them in my truck. You want to see them?
You got to
brought some,
bring them in now. We've learned fancy working boots, cold as hell. I mean, there's all kinds of
Right.
stuff we've learned.
We
today.
got to get some SkyGuard branded fancy roofing boots. The orange and white. Looks like some
I don't know if this is kosher, but if I could say this, but some of our crews, we try to give them the boots. They said, no, man, my $20 tennis sneakers, they work great when I'm up there when it's hot, and they're agile. Let me put it that way. So they can get up there and do some magic. And especially when it's 100, in the roof and it's in the middle of summer. It's probably one of the better times to install a roof, but it's 100. It can get pretty hot up there, and some of our guys, man, I just have to give them credit. They're hauling these heavy shingles up there. It's not light,
Right.
and you're carrying this up there and putting it on. Yeah, we really appreciate our installers. We have a Christmas party that we invite we invite them to. We have a couple of parties here that we take care of them, and that's one thing we do for our installers. So we wouldn't be where we are without our installers. So we appreciate them. So.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. As James said, and of course the timekeepers tell me we need to wrap things up.
Yes, sir.
So, but anyway, we here at Absolute Services, we do plumbing, heating and air, garage doors, and electrical. So if once you get your roof taken care of and you need any of these other issues, feel free to give us a call or contact us on absoluteservices.net. And with that being said, I thank you all for coming.
Thank you
Absolutely.
guys for having us.